Greetings, fellow book lovers, and welcome back to Colin's Corner. Today, I will be reviewing Jade City by Fonda Lee, but first we have a couple things to go over. So in the last video, my joke for the Comedy with Colin segment was posed by my daughter Haley, where she also chose the next book that I'm going to read. If you haven't seen that video was so much fun to make. We had a blast together. I will link it right here if you guys want to check that out. The joke that she posed to you guys was, what does a pirate say on his 80th birthday? The answer? I'm 80. I'm 80. I'm 80. Get it? I love a good joke. Next, guys, we am pumped up. We have two important announcements to make on the channel today. The first is going to be that I was invited by Theo at the Rekindled Reader to participate in his Fireside Friday chats. Now, I am honored that Theo thought to ask me. This is going to be my first live discussion, so I am very excited to hang out with him, get to know him a little bit better. And if you guys want to come hang out with us, the video will be live this Friday night, March 3rd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I linked the video in my community tab, and I will also tag Theo at the Rekindled Reader in the description. So thank you so much, Theo. I'm very excited to come hang out with you for a while. My second announcement, guys, is that I'll be participating in a channel read-along between Colin's Corner, my channel, and Ben over at Books with Bengus Con. Now, we are going to be reading the Live Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb together. We're going to be starting April 1st, and we're going to do a book per month with a live discussion with the two of us at the end of each month. So if you guys want to catch up and read Farseer, you have a little bit of time to do that before we start the read-along, and I hope that you guys are interested and will come along the journey with us. Please go check Ben's channel out. If you guys haven't yet, he's a tremendous content creator. I've been following along his journey on BookTube for a while now. He seems like such a genuine soul, and I really can't wait to get to know him better through this process of reading these books together and discussing them in the live format. So Ben, I'm very, very excited that we are going to be doing this together. All right, without anything further, guys, let's get into this review. Now, I just want to preface this by saying this is my first dedicated book review on the channel. I've been a little nervous to do this because I didn't realize how difficult it was to kind of formulate my thoughts in a spoiler-free way, but I'm going to try to do my best. So, what is this book about? Jade is the lifeblood of the island of Kekon. It has been mined, traded, stolen, and killed for. And for centuries, honorable greenbone warriors like the Kahl family have used it to enhance their magical abilities and defend the island from foreign invasion. Now, the war is over, and a new generation of Kahls vies for control of Kekon's bustling capital city. They care about nothing but protecting their own, cornering the jade market, and defending the districts under their protection. Ancient tradition has little place in this rapidly changing nation. When a powerful new drug emerges that lets anyone, even foreigners, wield jade, the simmering tension between the Kahls and the rival Eight family erupts into open violence. The outcome of this clan war will determine the fate of all Greenbones, and of Kekon itself. So that, guys, takes us into Jade City. This is Fonda Lee's debut adult fantasy novel. It was heavily inspired by Asian mafia-style movies, and also movies such as The Godfather, Scarface, and Goodfellas. So in this book, we are following the Kahl family, who are leaders of the No Peak clan. And as the summary says, they are in conflict with the Eight family, who are the leaders of the Mountain clan. So Greenbones are specially trained warriors that actually, in generations previous to this, used to work together to kind of fend off foreign invaders to Kekon. So jade is a naturally occurring resource on the island of Kekon, and it is mined and controlled in part by the Greenbone families and in part by the government. So the families are vying for control over the jade market and the capital city of Janloon. only natives to the island or trained warriors can wield Jade safely without experiencing extremely negative side effects. And Jade also grants some superhuman abilities, like perception and steel, which is like a defensive mechanism, and speed. So for these specially trained warriors, the Jade enhances their abilities. So amidst the warring clan families fight over Jade control, they now, both families also are trying to figure out how to deal with the emergence of a new street drug called SN1 that allows for anybody, non-natives or non-greenbone warriors, to wield Jade safely. So this is concerning for them because now anybody in the world can, if they can get their hands on some Jade, can wield it. The setting was an interesting mix of modern and also traditional fantasy, as Janloon and the world around Janloon seem to be pretty developed, and there are the use of more modern weapons, but it also kind of has a traditional feel because there's no use of technology, there's no cell phones, and there are some great hand-to-hand combat and sword type weaponry being used in this book. I want to talk just a little bit about a few themes that really stuck out to me in Jade City. The first of which is going to be loyalty. There was loyalty explored in the form of clan loyalty and loyalty explored in the form of family loyalty. Within the city of Janloon, there's different districts that are basically, they pledge their allegiance to one clan or the other. Within the family and within the clans, there is a hierarchy, and loyalty is expected of the lesser people in the clan, and loyalty to the clan at large is expected from clan members. The second theme that I want to talk about that really stuck out to me was the theme of power. The influence and the addiction of Jade is almost like a drug, like a physical drug feeling. And the fact that wielding any amount of Jade in this world garners a lot of reverence and respect from your peers kind of forces people to do some kind of unthinkable things to get their hands on a little bit of Jade. And the last theme that really stuck out to me was honor. There is a code of honor in the book, and it is observed by both clans most of the time. And the code is called Aisho. So, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But there are certain things that are cool to do, and there are certain things that are not cool to do. And these are kind of like unwritten rules. And if they get broken, it can definitely cause some reaction from rival clans and will definitely be responded to. Next, I want to move on to characters and just talk briefly about some characters that stood out to me. One thing that I really enjoyed about this book was there were multiple strong female characters. And that's wonderful to see in a modern fantasy book. We have 8 Maida, Kal Shay, and Make Wen, and I really loved following them when the story was focused on them to see what they were doing, because they were formidable and even, in leadership positions in these clans, and it's great to see a female character with so much power. And I think that Fonda Lee does a great job displaying how these powerful women had influence over what was going on in KCON. Lee does a decent job in building all of her characters up, and I was interested in a lot of different characters that we follow throughout the course of this first book in the trilogy. Now, briefly, I just want to talk about the fighting and the battle scenes in Jade City. So when I finished this, and I don't always do this, but I happened to do it for Jade City, I actually read the author interview at the end of the book, and it was really interesting to hear Fonda Lee talk about her participation and interest in things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you can definitely see the influence that that has had on her descriptions of battle scenes in Jade City. So I haven't read a ton of fantasy. I'm not very widely read quite yet, but I can honestly say that this is the most unique experience that I've had in terms of reading battle scenes in any of the fantasy that I've read. So it's not that the battle scenes aren't gory or don't have really devastating conclusions, because they do, but the way that Fonda Lee describes them is almost artistic, and you can tell that she has such a great respect for hand-to-hand combat and technique, and it seeps through the page. And it was really, really cool to just read about a fight scene in a different way, that it wasn't focused on the gore, it wasn't focused on the blood, it wasn't focused on, you know, the kind of horror elements that can be present in fight scenes. It was much more of a artistic description, which I really, really enjoyed. The last thing that I want to talk about, guys, is the dialogue in the book. Now, this was one of the only parts of the book that I didn't particularly enjoy. I'm not saying that it was done poorly, but it at times to me felt kind of disingenuine, or predictable. Like what the characters were going to say was predictable. And at times I felt myself being really invested in the story, and then that would stop. Like there would be a switch that gets flipped when the dialogue was happening on the page that kind of took me out of it a little bit, because what the characters were saying to each other kind of didn't feel believable to me at times. And this might just be a personal thing, but this was my experience with the dialogue, and it's one of the only things in the book that I really had any kind of issues with. To wrap it up, guys, I really did enjoy Jade City. I think I ended up giving it 3.5 stars, and I will be continuing. I'm not sure when, but I definitely will be continuing in this series, because I want to see where Fonda Lee takes the story. I know that some people in the second book end up not liking where she goes with it. Some people love it. So I'll be very interested to see where I stand with that. That's going to do it, guys, for today's review of Jade City by Fonda Lee. And now it is time for everybody's favorite part of the video, comedy with Colin. Today's joke, guys, will be, why can't you trust the King of the Jungle? If you think you know the answer, guys, drop it down in the comments. Also, if you've read any books in the Greenbone Saga yet, please let me know what you thought, and if you think that I'm going to enjoy the rest of the series. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's video, and remember, you are always welcome in Colin's Corner.